Good evening, everyone. A bit of jazz going on. My name is Michael Taylor. I'm the Chief Curator and Deputy Director for Art and Education here at VMFA. And it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you to tonight's lecture. And of course, it's time to coincide with our Samurai exhibition, which has been an extraordinary success. It's a real blockbuster where we had to revise all of our attendance projections. We think it's going to have about 100,000 visitors. So COVID is over. We sometimes wondered, would we ever see crowds like that again? Well, we are seeing them, and it's great. If you have seen the show, go see it again. I got a haircut this morning. I don't have many left, but my hairs were cut. And I asked my hairdresser, have you seen the show? And she said, oh, yes. And I said, what did you think of the little boy armor with the crabs on the shoulder? She was like, I don't think I saw those crabs. I was like, right, so you have to see it again. And that is my message to you. And if you haven't seen it, you are in for such a treat. It's an extraordinary show. As you know, it was curated by Li Jin, who is the Carpenter Curator of East Asian Art here at VMFA. She is traveling. She's in Asia, because that's what you do when you're the Curator of East Asian Art. You go to Asia. So, but she was sad to miss this lecture because we were so looking forward to it. Tonight's talk is presented by Dr. Andreas Marks, who is the Curator of Japanese and Korean Art at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. Dr. Marks will talk on the design of samurai suits of armor and will especially address helmet forms and other design elements. Since 2013, Dr. Marks has served as the Mary Griggs Burke Curator of Japanese and Korean Art and Director of the Clark Center at MIA. He has a master's degree in East Asian Art History from the University of Bonn in Germany and a PhD from Leiden University in the Netherlands. With almost 20 years of experience in the field of Japanese art, he has curated more than 60 exhibitions at 38 institutions around the world, including the Detroit Institute of Arts, the Honolulu Museum of Art, and the Suntory Museum of Art in Tokyo, Japan. He has also lectured at 43 institutions in the United States, Europe, and Asia, and is an award-winning author of more than 20 books and countless essays about various aspects of Japanese art. Among his recent publications is Japanese Yokai and Other Supernatural Beings, in which he describes and illustrates 100 different demons. Forthcoming are Hiroshige's 100 Famous Views of Edo, the definitive collector's guide, as well as the largest monograph to date on Hokusai, with more than 1,000 images of works by this Japanese master printmaker. Tonight, he's going to talk about something he's very passionate about, which is samurai armor. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Andreas Marks to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Michael, for the invitation. Thank you for realizing COVID is over and letting me come here in person and not having to do this with Zoom. I'm very happy that I've been able to come. You guys had a fantastic Kawase Hasui Japanese landscape prints exhibition a couple of years ago. And I really, really wanted to come for that one because, yeah, passion, yes, but the other passion, Japanese prints. So unfortunately, I couldn't come at that time, but I'm looking forward to seeing some prints while I'm here. I already went, of course, through the show. That was the first thing to do when I arrived here, and congratulations to the VMFA and Li Jin for installing fantastic exhibition with a great bang at the end with those galloping horses. That is a awe-inspiring display. So. In that vein, I'm going to talk today a little bit about the design, not so much the history, also a bit about the history, You're going to see some of the objects that are in the show, but you're also going to see some of the objects that we have in Minneapolis and at other museums. I'm fortunate to be in a position where I'm actually shopping, and I'm buying quite a bit, so I'm going to show you. You're going to be the very first ones to see 2 helmets that I bought on Tuesday. We had an accessions meeting on Tuesday and just acquired those, so you're going to see some brand new material that just entered legally the United States. To answer the question that always comes, I'm from Germany, the accent is German, so we get that out of the way. Now let's see if I can get this to work. There we are. So this is a detail from a folding screen that we have in our collection, and to give you an idea of the way how samurai looked like. This is a 16th century, 17th century, so it's around 1600 when this painting was done, and so they were actually around. It's not an image of a person a couple hundred years ago, but it's an actual painting from the time period when the samurai were active and alive and were dressed. And you have here the kind of standard armor as you see it in the exhibition as well. And some of you might have watched television and might have seen a certain series that's been quite popular in the United States called Shogun. And so I grew up with the old one, by the way. And so here is the main character of the new one, Yoshii Toranaga. And in one scene, you see him wearing this typical kind of helmet with flaps that are going to the side, and a maedate, so a crest at the front that is attached to the bowl. So they actually were inspired by classic armor and really try to obviously follow that with their designs. So you can see here the old painting and the new, interpretation for television. 2 other examples of samurai suits of armor, and especially helmets. You've got one over here where there is a larger element attached to the bowl, and then here is another one with 5 elements that are pointing away. These are small figures, so that's why the detailing is not that extreme. The gentleman down here has lost his helmet and is about to lose a little bit more. So the other character from Shogun here, Kashigi Yabushige, Lord of Izu, and here they also added a front piece to his helmet. Plus we've got some fur, we'll get to fur later. So quite similar to the helmet that we've got on this side. Now, it's very technical, as with a lot when it comes to Japan, Japanese art, Japanese culture. There are technical terms for absolutely everything, and so this is just an example. I'm not going to go through this. I'm not going to ask you at the end to remember any of these technical terms. But you see it's very complex, and some of these diagrams are in the show also to explain and give you an idea of the different elements of this armor. And this is the typical armor that we know of in the later period, meaning we're looking at 16th century and so on. Early on, it's much, much more simple, as with everything in life or in history of humanity, basically. Things start simple and then become more sophisticated. And that's exactly what we have with Japanese armor. So here, armored sleeves, and the top left, that's the beginning. As I said, the simple form, you're actually not covering the whole arm, you're only covering a part. And then in the 11th, 13th century, it starts to grow. They're starting to cover the entire arm. There is chain mail elements now also that are being attached. And then as we move on, these bottom ones are 15th, 16th century up to the 19th century. So you see it becomes much more elaborate, much more complicated to construct. Now, the suits of armor that you have in the exhibition, as basically most of the suits of armor that exist, you have to understand that those are the ones worn by wealthy samurai. If you're not wealthy, well, then you might not be able to own a full suit of armor. You might only have a breastplate, a cuirass for protection, a helmet, maybe really only those partial sleeves. So it's a question of income, it's a question of means, how much protection you can actually afford. So these days, a lot of the suits that have survived that we still have, those are actually from wealthier people. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of examples of how these suits of armor can look like. For many of them, we don't know who the owners were. Some retain family crests. Others are without any kind of indication. And there are different types of styles. So this is a very peculiar, very special kind of suit because it has this flesh-colored rib bone cuirass. So you're looking at it and you're meant to be, this is the idea with all of these suits, you're meant to be intimidated, you're meant to not like it. This is not meant to be inviting, yeah? You want to, the idea behind a suit of armor, the idea behind all of these elements is to scare your opponent, to express power, strength, and not to tell people, please come to me and hug me or something, yeah? So it's about I am strong, I am powerful, so here we have a very extravagant lacing, also different colored lacing all the way up, and quite a bit of a realism with the hair. The bowl actually is covered with hair. The cuirass represents one of the rarest styles named after Neo, which are benevolent kings, guardian figures that you would find outside of most Japanese Buddhist temples for protection, and that or as ascetics. Flesh color, the sight of bare flesh, exposed ribs was meant to be unpleasant for opponents. So that's what you see here. There is one very similar at the Tokyo National Museum. So the other one before was in a Californian private collection. This is now the one at Tokyo National Museum. It is done a little bit different. The cuirass, which is the breastplate, actually has lacing here as well. So it's not full, it's half. This one has lost the front element of the helmet. As you go through the show, you quite see a few of these where there are no front elements, and if there is none, we don't know. There are all kinds of options, all kinds of possibilities. So if it doesn't has retained, well then, unless we have a painting or a print or some kind of other evidence, we wouldn't know what to put back there. So here is the two of them side to side, and this one even has the continuation of this flesh on the back side as well. So quite interesting piece. I mean, both of them very interesting. Both of them, the bowls, you see a bit better here maybe. This is bear fur. You would again bear a very strong animal. So by having the power of the bear with you, that makes you stronger, that makes you more powerful. Now, as we move on, let's talk a bit about heraldry. So as I said, there are family crests, and as you're going through the show, right when you come in, there's this wonderful example, yeah, this whole set of the Mori family, and you see the same kind of crest throughout the elements that are in that case. So this is just a tiny little example of Japanese heraldry of these family crests that exist, and it's very complex, and we're talking of a couple of thousands that exist. There is research, there are some books that you can find. There is actually, I mean, the best one that I know of is of a German researcher who put together a list of which family belongs to, or which crest belongs to which family, which person. Sometimes when you find an object and you find the crest, you're like, oh yeah, great, I can look it up. Well, then unfortunately, you will find out that several different families throughout Japan used the same one. So then you end up still not knowing who the owner was, but at least it narrows it down a little bit, and you have a couple of options. Now, heraldry is not something only for Japan. Of course, heraldry existed in Europe very much as well. So this is an example from a book by Johann Siebmacher, who died 1611. He published a 2-volume book with 3,320 coat of arms only for Germany and Austria, 3,320. It was reprinted over time, though there's a colored version as well. It was reprinted until 1806, when it then comprised of 19,000 coat of arms. That was for Germany and Austria. So Japan isn't much different. So it's very complex, and sometimes, as the example in the show with the Mori family, you find examples where the crest is all over the suit of armor, and then, like in this case, this suit of armor has a fabulous flag also. They're very rare to find. I unfortunately don't have anything in my own collection, but I'm hoping at some point I could find one. This is a Western style cuirass of a single piece of iron. These are inspired by Europeans. These kind of Western style elements, helmets as well, are called Nanban, which means Southern Barbarian. It has to do with the Portuguese coming into Japan and having European armor with more iron than what the Japanese were using. The helmet in this case is modeled out of one piece of iron in repoussé technique, resembling the form of a mountain encircled by dragons. The front is decorated with a coiled dragon in silver and gold, and what we're looking at is called kaji no ha. This is paper mulberry leaf, and is the crest of the daimyo, which is a feudal lord of Omura in Hizen province. So the blue is silk, and there's gold thread then on it, and it's very precious and fragile. One of the recent acquisitions I was able to do in Minneapolis is this pair of screens. This is a pair of 6-panel folding screens. It shows battle standards used, and talking about complexity, if you're going to a battle and you have that many elements, it's not that easy. These are both sides of the battle. So the right side are the elements of everybody fighting on one side of the battle, and the left side are the elements of everybody fighting on the other side of the battle. The right is the winning side. So we're looking here at a very complex system of different types of banners, flags that were used as before, as a samurai with your suit of armor. There were, some of them, they do have like little devices on the back in which you can put a flag. You then have horse insignia, you have other standards, larger flags, and another device, which I'm showing in a minute, that samurai could add to collect arrows. So all these different elements make the whole thing quite wild. And now this is a detail, so you can see these different types, different sizes. I'm not going to go through. I think you still want dinner. But just as a little intro, looking at the very top, Japanese, we're starting on the right side, and on the top we're going from top over to top right over here to the left. And so the top right is the banners used by Tokugawa Ieyasu, which is the one who won the battle at Sekigahara and then became the shogun, and this is the beginning of the Edo period or Tokugawa period. So you're looking at these elements that he used. There are 8 banners and standards, including a gold fan, used then by his son Hidetada during the siege of Osaka Castle, which was 1614 to 1615. And interesting are these balloon kind of elements. And as we continue, that's such a balloon element that is attached to the back. And so you've got one up here, there's another one down here. Yeah, I know a dealer in Japan who has one, and I'm working on that. But we'll see. It's the problem is the fragility, the conservation of the piece, of course. Yeah, and as a museum, you want it to be in the best possible shape. And so, if anybody of you know somebody else who has one, please let me know. Now moving on to helmets. So this is the new acquisition of Tuesday. This is it really looks like that. It's a rust bowl, but I'm very happy to have this piece because very, very tough to get material 5th to 6th century. So it was dug out, I believe, probably 1950s, 1960s. The certificate that comes with it was found in Ibaraki Prefecture, which is north of Tokyo. Unfortunately, the village and the site that is listed no longer exists. In Japan, there have been land changes, so villages were packed together into cities. The names changed, lots of land development, and so I'm not quite 100% sure where they dug out this helmet. Plus, Ibaraki Prefecture has 3,000 registered sites, so it's a little bit complicated. But in any case, it gives you an idea of this early construction of helmet. The helmets came from China via Korea over to Japan, and it's quite simple done, where you had just plates of iron that were riveted together. And this construction, well, it's functionality. That's what it is at the beginning. So we're not really looking at a piece of art. I can tell you I had a hard time with our director because it's not a piece of art and we're an art museum. And I was told to not come again with a piece of sword that is only like a couple inches. So this is a ram-shaped helmet. That's the technical term that is being used in Japan for this. Sho kakutsuki kabuto, ram-shaped. It has this. It is going narrow to the front, like the ram of a ship. The next one, so this is, it's not a pair. There are actually 700 years in between. But this is the second one that I just acquired. You're looking at a 12th century helmet. Now, the construction becomes much more Japanese. So before we have parallels with the mainland, now we have Japanese design, and we have having now here these much thinner rivets and a visor. There is leather here as well, so a much more of a piece of art as well. This is a hoshi kabuto, yes, it's a star kabuto, you're thinking of stars. There's a hole at the top where the hair could go through, and this is just a floral design, so not yet a family crest. That comes later. But this design form, very typical, this will stay on and on and on for centuries. When exactly they started, we don't know, but we're dating this to the 12th century. And now talking about helmet construction, yeah, these rivets, these plates that were put together, the more plates, the more costly. Yeah, of course, there's more labor involved, there's more material involved, there's more skills involved to be able to put small plates together and form the bowl. Yeah, we had this before. You've got a schematic now over here with the different elements for this kind of helmet, and you see now over there these badges. He's got that as well on this one. So that's where you would put the family crest. You've got a family crest then on your side. You don't have that in the 12th century yet, but it's coming then later. This is another one in our collection, and you've got a crest here and over there. And you have the same kind of bowl. So this is 17th century, 500 years later, to the one that we just looked at before. This is a one in the exhibition. The crest is a butterfly, and the butterfly framed in a square, which is associated with the Ikeda family, daimyo of Tottori, in Inaba province, which is Tottori prefecture and western Japan. We have now 32 plates. So yeah, a bit more costly, a bit more time-consuming to create. We can double that, 62 plates now here for this helmet, which is attributed to Saotome Ieharu. The mon was used, the mon is the crest that is here, was used by the Amano and Shimojima families, so unclear which family exactly had that. This is in the exhibition as well. We're now at 120 plates. So that's really the limit. We're getting up there. 120 is phenomenal. It's very rare to be able to achieve that, and this is then very costly. The crest is dwarf bamboo framed in a circle, which is associated with the Inaba family. They had several branches, and so unclear which branch this helmet might have belonged to. We can top that a little bit in Minneapolis. We have 124, so this is the celebrated armor in our collection. This is the tough one because I'm not sure. I've never tried to buy another one because we have that. I don't know if they're going to let me buy another one. This is the most expensive suit of armor ever sold at auction. You can look it up in Christie's. I'm not going to tell you now how much it was, but it's a staggering number, I can tell you that. So it has to do with the incredible level of craftsmanship and detailing. The helmet is one element of that, and also with the provenance, because we're looking here at Tokugawa family armor. So we're talking of the ruling family of Japan, and it was owned before by a museum in Japan, but then they deaccessioned because they decided that they don't collect samurai material anymore. So they sold everything off at auction, and then we were able to get it in a bidding fight. I don't know who the underbidder was, but I did meet recently a collector in France who told me that he was after the suit. So in any case, so we believe that this was made for Tokugawa Yorinobu, who is the founder of the Kii branch. The family branched off in several directions, and so there's the Kii branch of the Tokugawa family. Yorinobu was the 10th son of Ieyasu. So that's what we're thinking here, what the provenance is, early 17th century. Now, you have to understand that early 17th century means it was technically made for battle, but actually never used. So from that time period on, there are no battles anymore, but they still continue to do the armor, because who knew the future that there won't be any battles? So you still had to be prepared. And so in theory, this would have worked, would have functioned for a battle, but it never saw one. So it is basically pristine. Now, talking about elements with helmets, I'm going to introduce a couple of things now to you, and we're starting very simple with horns. So this is just two. You see the line in the middle, two pieces that were stuck together and then placed to the front. Huge horn-shaped golden front ornament with a height of 26.5 inches. So it's got quite a nice height to it. People tend to think when they look at a helmet, oh my God, this is some kind of super heavy thing. Well, actually, these elements are all done of lightweight material. So we're looking here of thin wood, light wood that then was lacquered. So that it's impressive, that it looks heavy, it looks substantial, but for the person wearing the suit, no, it's not a couple hundred pounds or something on the head, it's manageable. So here, we also have what you not really can see behind it. There's a slightly faded golden sun, to get to the, there's a detail so you can see the sun a little bit better. So it's an impressive piece. The light reflection, you will take notice of the bearer of this suit of armor, obviously, size matters. Now this is better. This is much more powerful. It's a fabulous a combination of red and gold. So this is called heaven-piercing, high-reaching side crests, again made of wood-covered with gold leaf. This is a suit in Japan, Hikone Castle Museum. They were famous for their red lacquered suits. And so you've got here now these crests attached to the side of the bowl, not to the front, to the side. If you think that this is big and this is, getting you enough attention, well, there's always something that is a little bit more impressive, you think you have the biggest car, I'm sorry, then you're getting over to that one. To my knowledge, this is the largest. I've not seen a bigger horns than this. So these are called cutaway side crests. This time we have silver leaf. The crests, they form a large disc and the center is cutaway, that's where it's from. And this is actually a 16th century helmet, meaning it was used, meaning it saw battle. So it would have worked in COVID wonderfully, people stay away from you. So for the battle, we do know that it was owned by Kuroda Kazunari and that he wore it at the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600. And we do understand that the opposite side mistook it for a flag and used it as the target for the cannon fire. So that's a bit of a tough one. Maybe you don't want to grab that much attention, but he certainly got it, more realistic horn-shaped, but not actual horns, made after horns, are these here. This is a very famous suit of armor, stunning piece, has to be because it was owned by the man. This was owned by Tokugawa Ieyasu, so the founder of the Tokugawa shogunate. We have a couple of his armor in Japan. Of course, everything is national treasure. It's a dream for one of us in the museum that we could ever get this on loan, which I don't think is going to happen. But in any case, so this is at the Tokugawa Art Museum, and these are Polonia wood horns, black lacquered. The shape is of water buffalo horns. They The entire armor, including the torso, gloves and skirts, is covered with bear fur. So we're back at the theme, yeah, the bear is the power, and also decorated in black. So it's a very special design, and it used to be kept at Nagoya Castle, so now it's at the Nagoya Tokugawa Museum. Talking about another element, shigami. Cute looking, however, biting lions. That's the theme here. The element is that they have, I mean, some of the elements that you can figure it out are these protruding ears. You've got some horns, and then, well, a smile, more or less smile, and there might be some teeth as well sticking out. Now this is from the emaciated torso helmet earlier on, and the element up here you should ignore. It's from India. It's not part of the shigami creature. So, but this is a biting lion, as I said, and now you've got here a Barbier-Mueller helmet, and you've got the biting lion up there. Especially here, this one. I'm thinking of Gremlins. It really gives you that kind of idea, and I'm sure, as with like Star Wars, yeah, lots of people get inspired by Japanese elements of Japanese culture. So we've got here, by the way, a 43 plate bowl, and there is more. There's another one in the exhibition here. Unfortunately, he lost the tip of a horn. But a very cute guy, also a very interesting shaped helmet that represents the cliffs of Ichinotani, the cliffs where there was a battle and they came down with the horses. So that's what is alluded here in this helmet. Not everything that grins is actually a biting lion. This is a harmless lion. This is not a biting one, so there are differences. This is a demonic, however, shishi. This is just a regular, and lions were from China. That's the idea, at least for Japan. This helmet is shaped like a textile cap worn by court nobles since around 1000. And so we've got vermilion red lacquered and this flamboyant Chinese lion, curly hair, little ears, so no ears that are standing away, just a cute little figure in a way. Now, of course, we're back at the biting lion and different elements. Sometimes the horns, they could look more like deer horns. They don't need to be just straight up. I mean, here the ears aren't really that much, but I mean, in this case, they even added a bit of yak hair, imported then from Central Asia. There are no yaks in Japan. White yak hair. And that's how it then looks like, attached to the helmet. Here's another one, and you can see up there a little bit more of the detailing, and that's a star helmet, as mentioned earlier, and we have again this strange element, which is actually a vajra. And in this case, it's a two-edged sword. It's a symbolic Buddhist weapon that also, of course, helps you in your fight if you have the gods basically on your side. In the exhibition is this fabulous piece, which is the entire helmet is the biting lion. Yeah, that's like as far as you can go, and it's part of a later development from functionality over now to fantastic helmets. These are fantastic shapes. The fantasy, there's no limit to fantasy, basically. You can go and you can create all kinds of things. Sometimes these are animals that actually exist. Sometimes these are fantastical things, like in this case. So here, this face was done of paper mache. So this is not iron that was cast or something, but it is light paper mache that was put on it, but in the interior still is a iron bowl, so the protection is still there. Now coming to sleeves, you can have a biting line also on your sleeves, and as we're moving on, we're getting to a Chinese magistrate's cap helmet. They are inspired by this. This is a typical headwear of a Han Chinese official during the Ming Dynasty. Ming Dynasty started 1368, and so in the late 16th century, these helmets they became more fashionable among the warrior elite. They were considered exotic and stately. So we're looking at some helmet maybe for a bit of an older gentleman who wants to look a little bit more wise. And here is an example for that. White, by the way, is a color for an older gentleman. So this is a suit of armor possibly worn by somebody who was a bit older. And you've got that helmet, and that the shape as we had it before of the Chinese magistrate cap, but now we are to go back. Yeah, the flaps that are here to the side now in this form, they're standing up and they're getting a little bit longer. And you might already guess where I'm getting now, since size does matter. Yes, you can get longer. Interesting enough, he's got hair down here with long ears, so yeah, maybe there is a bit of a connection. This suit of armor is said to have been owned by Wakisaka Yasumoto, the son of the Lord of Osu, so we have provenance for this piece. And as before, we can go larger. So here is a helmet in Japan at Katsuyama Castle Museum, and there is the propeller helmet, that every airplane would be envious of, at Ueno Castle in Iga City. So like I said before, no, not heavy, something light. I'm not sure about the mobility, however. Having that. Eboshi, this is another form. This is a folded, lacquered silk cap, and you actually see Toranaga wearing that. You have people in battle as well wearing this, which, well, if you can't afford a helmet, then at least you've got a cap. But you would use something also more like that for hunting, for example, other situations, not necessarily always such a helmet. So this helmet bowl, this is inspired, modeled after such a cap, and it is in the exhibition. This is also in the exhibition, again inspired. There are some holders on the side, so something must have been attached at some point to the side, don't know what. In Shogun, last one, there's this very special helmet of a character, and it's actually, they modeled this after Kato Kiyomasa's helmet. This is a historic piece, and it's in the Tokugawa Art Museum. Famous. He was a very famous general, and so this is a very specific type of form, exaggerated, long form with the red sun attached to it, and so they must have had that in mind when they designed this helmet for the show. Moving on to the last part, which is animals. So we talked about bear before, we talked about bear fur. Well, you can also shape your entire helmet like a bear. And so this is a fantastic helmet, but it's late 16th century, so probably did see battle. And whoops, that was too fast. Yeah, there's a funny one coming. And so, but you've got a fabulous row of teeth. So you can imagine the visor is up to here, so the teeth are up here on this side. I mean, it's a stunning, stunning piece. An extraordinary appearance. The eyes and teeth are lacquered in white. The red painted flews and the bloodshot eyes create a lifelike appearance of a teeth-bearing bear. The helmet is assumed to have been owned by the daimyo Mori Terumoto, who built Hiroshima Castle. And now, the funny bear with actual bear hair and a little bit of exaggerated ears, as you can imagine. We were able to acquire this helmet in Minneapolis recently. I never thought that I would be able to find such a piece. So this is single bowl of iron, so not any kind of paper mache or nothing. It's just an iron bowl that was hammered. So you can imagine the skills of the craftsman, of the person who put this together. The name is Ryoe, or Ohara Katsunari. This is a late 17th century helmet, and it is so special because it's already illustrated in a book. In a book that was done in probably around 1750. So there was a scholar of armor in Japan who in around 1750 published a book only about the helmets and other masks and so on that this particular smith did. And so a good half a dozen of the helmets in the book, we know where they are. And so I have one now in Minneapolis. Found that in Italy, of all places. And it was owned by a French collector before. So Europe is quite full of Japanese armor. It's easier to find things there actually than in Japan these days. To stay with the theme of sea creatures, this is a closed yeso scallop or hotategai for those of you who eat sushi. Yeah, it's called hotategai. So you're looking at this is the opening section, so that would be that section over there. This is in a museum, private museum in Florence, Italy, which has an amazing collection of armor. This is in the show. This is downstairs. Itaragai or itayagai, not something that you usually find in sushi restaurants in the US, but it's another kind of large scallop. And then over here we have abalone. This is also in the show. So both sides are that. You see the swirl that is over here. This is again a fantastic helmet, paper mache, and we believe the crest is the Todo clan that this once belonged to. So very important protection. There are other animals, of course, with that are protected. They have some kind of element. So you've got here a lobster tail that you could also have on your head. So there are lots of possibilities, lots of ways to go. I can go on and on and on, but I'm sure you're getting hungry the more seafood you get to see here. And so to get to an end. Dragonfly, this is one of our helmets again in Minneapolis, which is very special. Dragonfly also, of course, they have a body that is protected. Dragonfly also symbolizes endeavor and vigilance because of its manner of moving up and down and sideways, and they were thought to be the spirits of rice because they were often seen hovering above the flooded rice fields. And last but not least, my favorite of all, the octopus, which is an absolute stunning piece in Florence at this private museum, and it's really remarkable. And once you see that, you won't forget it. So, and it's paper mache. It's not super heavy. Thank you so much for your attention.